Hello and welcome to Stress Less with me, Jess. Today, my special guest is Justin Frandson. Hello, Justin.
Jessica, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good.
I'm so excited for you to be on here. You work with EMF Rocks, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So these aren't just rocks. These aren't just something you found in your backyard. These rocks actually do things. They help us with our health. They help us with our stress. They help us with so many different benefits. And you have this really cool opportunity where you have actually worked in the sports industry and showed other players of how this actually helps them. Can you kind of give us, the normal version, the hey, we understand version of what the heck these rocks are?
Yeah, for sure. You guys, EMF rocks are basically what they say, electromagnetic fields. And we have rocks, and the universe is just meant to ground us. And so everyone looks to nature to get grounded. And so did we. And so we found these really incredible crystals that have magnetic resonances to them, along with moisture in them that make them stronger than shungite, amethyst, or some of the other known crystals to help ground you and create a coherence in your environment. Because right now, Jessica, the number one stressor on our body is the non-native waveforms, all the 5G and all the wireless signals. So uh, that's what this will help address for you.
And when we were offline, you mentioned, or when we talked previously when we first met, you mentioned how these waves work and you broke it down, which made the most sense. You talked about how these electrical waves from, that we have, we all know we're surrounded by technology. We're surrounded by the cell phones, the TV, the computer. I mean, you name it, everything's on phones and electricity nowadays. You can't even go out to eat anymore without having to like QR code something. So can you explain again? Tell me about these waves. Break it down for me again.
Yeah, so we're one with our environment. Every living organism has a resonance, and we're electromagnetic beings, and our universe is electric. And we're made on the same waveforms. We call them scalar waves. So they distribute equally in every direction. And so they're not polarizing, they're unpolarized waves. So that's why we do really well out in nature. And a great example is if I drop a pebble into a pond, the resonance of the pond distributes equally in every direction. And that's a perfect example of an unpolarized wave. It's not a straight line wave that just you drop it in and it goes straight line to the right. That's just not how our universe works. But all electricity works in a one directional wave form. So cell tower panels have panels facing in a direction so they could broadcast a one directional wave each of those areas. So they cover the whole 360 degrees. So that's essentially the difference, is just the actual design of the electromagnetic field.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about this last time, and every time I'm now surrounded of two monitors we mentioned when I first got on the call with you, right? So I always think about the direction of that one straight shooter or where it's going on me. And so I think about, where I hold my cell phone now. I think about where the TVs are. And I think about just I have you in my brain about these directions of where all these like electrical, wires are going and stuff like that. It definitely resonates for sure.
Yeah, there's so much inundation of technology now in our world. And 140 years ago, we didn't have this stuff. I mean, this is all new, even for me. I'm in my 50s now, but as a kid, we didn't have wireless signals, and even the Ataris were hardwired. You had a handheld set, and so nowadays everything's just wireless. And what that means is that there's waveforms, and the speed of these waves are millimeter wave speeds of wavelength. So they're we like to quantify them in a wave per second spectrum. So when we're sleeping, our brainwave state is really slow. It's like one or below 1 to 8 hertz or waves per second. That's when we're getting that restorative sleep. And the resonance of the earth is 7.83 hertz or waves per second when we're getting ground outside. When our athletes are in the flow state for athleticism, those guys are in an alpha brainwave state of like 8 to 13 hertz or waves per second. But all the wireless signals are in the millions and now billions of waves per second. And that's where it gets really challenging, is because they keep increasing the speed of the wavelength in closer proximity. And they say, hey, keep adding more and more, and have the wireless laptop on your lap, and then have your cell phone, and then the earbuds, and then have, this device on over here, and then have your smart meter on over here, and all these uh, then your wireless TV or your printer is a wireless connection. And so you're adding billions of waves per second times each device. It gets you into a really unhealthy, invisible environment.
And I think the key word is that you said is that invisible environment. But I think what resonates with people too is that we want things quicker, we want things faster, we want things faster. And like you said, even in my upbringing, we still had AOL, so like you still had to wait for you to get connected. There wasn't just this instant, a reward of I click the internet, all of a sudden I'm on the internet, all of a sudden I can access any of my smart speakers in my house, right? We don't have that instant where now we do, like you said, we want things faster, faster, faster. And so can you kind of highlight what are some of the health problems you're kind of seeing, or health issues, or health related things in regards to this quicker and quicker, fast speed life?
Definitely. It's a lot of cognitive stuff, but out of the gate, Dr. Martin Pall talks about the voltage gated calcium channels breaking down. So what happens is it disrupts our mitochondria function. Those are 4 words for the gateway for your cells to get energy. And when that's disrupted, from the vibration of even low level electricity in the milligauss meters, which would be a 50 to 60 wave per second, even a 50 to 60, which is closer to how we rev, it's still disruptive for our body. So what happens is that vibration messes with your mitochondria. The 2.45 billion waves per second, or 2.45 gigahertz, is the lowest speed of a wireless on a phone. And it's wild how they set that number, because that is the lowest number that destructures our water in our body and in our environment. So what we're seeing is a really like chronic dehydration, and that's really challenging. I'll share with you how to solve that in a second. But chronic dehydration, mitochondria dysfunction, it's an oxidative stress. It messes with our pineal gland, which is really attached to the endocrine system, which is where your hormones are balanced. So when you're sleeping, you're not being able to get the melatonin, serotonin, all these hormones replenished so you can rest and recover, because your brain tries to figure out those billions of waves that are pinging. And so we go into a twilight sleep. So we don't get into that deep restorative sleep. So that's really kind of the net of what's going on, is it disrupts our sleep, and then our hormones aren't replenished, and then we become a gateway for all this other stuff. So what happens from there, it's a long answer, is is the cognitive challenges kind of kick in gear. So lack of focus and memory, anxiety, fatigue, stress, headaches, behavioral challenges. You'll see all of those scenarios play out just with a level 1 toxicity. And then level 2 would be more non-trauma concussion symptoms and nausea, vomiting, and more severe headaches of migraines and bloody noses. And then you'll see level 3, which I've seen all of these in the last decade or more of metering homes, but cancer, suicide, diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, which is type 3 diabetes, really, and then cardiovascular disease. And then the biggest thing we're seeing also, Jess, is a lack of infertility.
Yeah.
Infertility, lack of fertility.
And I feel you're naming things that people can relate to, right? The cognitive function, whether it's lack of sleep, it's anxiety, it's lack of focus, it's being tired. It's like you're naming all these things that everyone's like, yeah, that's me. But the thing is, okay, so we're in this world. We still have to use our cell phones. We're literally meeting over Zoom right now, so we still have to do computer work. There's a lot of 9 to 5ers that this is what they do. They have the 3 different monitors. We're in the electrical cars. Only the cars are upgrading with more screens, right? It's endless. So I think there comes that frustration of, well, the world's still moving. How do I adapt? So can you kind of break down, we already talked, we know nature is great for us, right? So can you kind of break down how these EMF rocks help with these electrical waves, which will then help with the cognitive dysfunction. We can help with hormones, the lack of sleep, all the things.
Yeah, definitely. So nature designed this entire universe in a way that we get charged by nature, and we charge from it. We get charged, we give it back. There's this interplay between us and our environment. That's the fundamental essence of life. And our body acts like a capacitor, or essentially a sponge. We're absorbing stuff, and then we're giving it back, and then we can wring that sponge out, and we still have form and function. We're pliable, we're absorptive, and that's really how our fascia works in our body. And when we're in nature, that system, that basically the living collective intelligence matrix at play, where we're one with our environment, is in harmony. And when there's millimeter waves blasting at us, it's in disarray. It's out of harmony. So nature, we pull the electrons, and we pull the electrons to support our electron transfer chain. So we pull the ions that feed our bodies and feed the electrons for the electron transport chain. So we can have energy and be able to do the things we want to do. We get it from the earth. We pull that negative ionic charge from the earth. We get positive charge from the sun. We breathe in minerals. We get it from our food and water, and we get the conductivity from our water. So that's how our body battery works. So nature outside just the earth's resonance it's such an important element into it. And so that's why we look to her to solve this challenge. And we hand mine the crystals, and the crystals, again, have the moisture and magnetic properties. So the other ones just have magnetic resonances. They don't have the moisture with it. So when you have both, it's exponentially stronger. And one grounding bag from our emfrocks.com grounding bags, you put it on your bed, and you'll sleep up to 60% deeper. It's that simple. So we're looking at something that's just really, really impactful for our body. And then 5 together will clear 2,000 square feet.
So what I'm hearing, and tell me if I'm on, if I'm not explaining this correctly, what I'm hearing is basically your EMF rocks, they basically just like cleanse this technology waves that we're feeling. They basically cleanse out, but it also sounds like it kind of blocks from more coming into if used correctly.
Yeah, so there's a coherence that they create. So they emit a resonance. And so essentially, if you're being broadcasted a non-native waveform, and a natural resonance of the earth can overpower it, what happens is it creates a coherence in our environment. And whether they absorb stuff, or just when you have 5 or 7 grounding bags together, that clears 2,000 square feet. There's something physics-wise where they can say, okay, these one directional waveforms, now we're going to convert them. And that's the cool thing about physics, is we can convert waveforms to make them healthier for us. And that's what the grounding bags do. And so we have protocols established where you put one on your bed, desk, or car seat, and that'll clear those areas. You'll sleep up to 60% deeper on your bed. 5 together will clear 2,000 square feet. 7 if you have solar, because unfortunately, they haven't figured out how to ground solar out on the home. So there's lots of static and dirty electricity. And then if you're driving an electric car, I know that's a big button. Last time we chatted, for me, is I'm not a fan of electric cars, and sitting on a massive battery is devastating for our health. It's dirty electricity at the highest level, and it'll give you 18% lower testosterone just to start. So, and there's a bunch of other reasons, but yeah, using more electricity that they want to reduce the usage of to use the vehicle doesn't make sense either, just from the start of it. But but the big challenge is the health challenge from it. So I mean, there's a lot of things at play here, but nature has designed to help facilitate healing us. We've just found the right crystals to help, and now we have them deployed in these grounding bags that you can travel with and bring them with you, and bring them the minis for on the go protection. And these ones, if someone needs more protection, they just carry these with it. They're about 1 pound, but man, 1 pound extra weight on you versus getting sick or having no energy at the end of the day, it's a huge benefit.
Yeah. So you keep saying the word dirty energy, and I love that's how you're like kind of describing it. So we have this dirty energy in a world, we're surrounded by this. You have found and created and how to package these EMF rocks that are going to help cleanse all this, right? Can you tell us like one or two success stories that you've seen with your rocks?
Oh, definitely. Well, I'll do the tests that the doctors did. I'll share them with you. So Dr. Rodney White tested the grounding bags on his sleep for 3 months, and he's EMF sensitive, and he had disruptive sleep his whole life. And he's tested every other product out there, the ones that are way more expensive than ours, that have modified resonances to overpower the other modified frequencies, which I'm not a fan of. Those are like eating GMO food, but you're modifying a resonance in your environment. That's just not great. But he tested everything, and the grounding bags clinically, they passively treated him in his sleep for 3 months straight, and he slept 60% deeper. So his deep sleep went from 45 minutes to 100 minutes consistently for 3 months. So no one does tests for 3 months. Like literally, you do a clinical trial or third party independent test. So he did because he couldn't believe it. And then he's like, these are incredible. And when they dropped, 5-10%, his deep sleep dropped, he put the grounding bag outside on the ground and regrounded it, put it back in his bed, and his sleep normalized again. That is incredible. So we know that it creates a coherence for your sleep. And then Dr. Bear Lando did a waveform test where the grounding bags clinically passively treated up to 91% of the markers that were off for his patient. So that's crazy to see someone has all these different challenges and then have them pretty much erased just by placing the grounding bags around them. And so we know that this environment is just so huge for us. And I always ask, what is your environment? And it's everything around us, right? And let's lean in on the atmosphere, the air, and that's where these waves and particles travel through. So that's how this stuff can be disruptive, because our environment is electromagnetic and it's broadcasting one directional waveforms that just chips away at our energy field, that chips away at our health. So there's a lot of success stories. I like to share the doctor studies first, and then the challenges that I've seen with EMF. And then you can go on our website, and there's literally endless number of testimonials on our website. The market's spoken. We sell these through doctor clinics all around the country. People just sleep better. They feel better. If I test them at a clinic, they'll have to leave because they feel that they're like, I can't stay. The EMFs are too strong. We're at a trade show, and I feel sick. And I go through our tapping protocol, just tapping on the bag and then covering their eyes, their teeth, and their thymus and their intestines. They go through a detox protocol. So we flush any stuck EMF in their energy field externally, and then they feel better. Then they could stay at the show. So when you're toxic, you can't tolerate much more toxicity. But when we flush the toxicity out of you, you're able to tolerate more. If that sponge is saturated with poison, you're pretty much at your wit's end. If we wring it out, and that's how the fascia works, and counter rotation, just as a sponge would to wring it out, our bodies can be more absorptive. It's a while.
It's really crazy what our bodies can do. So for the listeners that are going, okay, just tell me where to go. Tell me where to go. Can you clarify the different, you mentioned your mini travel bags and you had one other product I just think as well. And then you have a book. So can you talk about the different products you have and where they should go and get them?
Yeah, so emfrocks.com is where all of our grounding bags are. And we have the full size here and we have a mini, which is just fresh out of my pocket. And these are about 2 to 3 ounces of crystals. They're a little bulkier, so most women don't put them in their pocket, but they'll put them in a purse. And then these are great for a kid's backpack as well. But I love it in the pocket because I put my phone on the outside of it. And so there's a layer of protection between my body and the phone. And similar for a woman with a purse, if they're having their purse, most women will carry it on the right side. So their phone's literally over their liver, like all day, if
Yeah.
it's right there. Uh, we got to be more aware of our environment and how we interplay with it. And the grounding bags are a blessing to help create that coherence. We also have Faraday bags, just where we put the phone in it. We have an 8x8 and a mobile Faraday bag, which is a 8x4.5. So your phone will slide easily into the top of it, and your phone will still ring inside of there, but it dampens the signal strength to safe levels. So if I had a meter and we measured the signal strength of the phone when it's inside there, it drops it down to what bioinitiative.org would consider a safe level. So the Faraday bags are really inexpensive products, like under $15 products, $14.99 for the bigger ones and less for the smaller, that you can really dampen the signal strength. And so what I like to do when I'm driving is I'll turn everything off. So I have my display on my the media center, if you will, for the car. I have a 6-year-old car. So I'll turn the Bluetooth off. So I don't have Wi-Fi in my car. So I'll literally turn the Bluetooth off and then I'll put my phone on airplane mode. And I have a meter and it's low EMFs in my car when I do that because I'm not an electric car and then I don't have Wi-Fi. When I have to use my phone, yeah, the phone's on, then the signals go up. But if I'm expecting a call and it's during my business day, but I don't want a router right next to me, I'll throw my phone in the Faraday bag and it dampens the signals to lower levels, but my phone will still ring inside of there. So it's just awesome. So those are some great products.
I love that you had a different levels of products because kind of you got the more like inexpensive ones. It's like that introduction, right? Like, let me just see how this works, what it works, and then kind of you're able to just kind of build from there. So I think that's really cool that you have all those different options as well. And I will go. Sorry, yeah, you have it in your hands. Talk about it.
Yeah, I knew you're going there. I had to grab it. The MCT oil. So we have a medium chain triglyceride oil. It's called lean oil, and it's in a glass bottle, not a plastic shampoo bottle. And it's distilled to perfection. So we don't use all the bad chemicals that they use in distillation of oils. And so a teaspoon goes a long way. If you're sensitive to the oils, just do 3 drops and you'll still get the benefits. But what I saw with the MCT oil is pretty much incredible. We had a diabetic client who got childhood diabetes and he jumped on an airplane and it's ironic, but the mom with the new diagnosis of the diabetes for her son, they both were wearing smartwatches, which was the challenge that was the cause of the diabetes, but now they're using it to save his life and monitor the glucose spiking, which is wild. So anyways, they jumped on a flight, international flight, and his glucose levels spiked 200 points when everyone turns on the Wi-Fi and he got a bloody nose. So we know that all these health challenges, all those challenges that EMF presents in our body, that we see these signs of disease, they're all from electromagnetic non-native waveforms, period. There's not a
Yeah.
virus out there flying around to kill anyone. It wasn't a virus that he breathed in and his glucose spiked. It was his environment was polluted and his system was in such disarray that the glucose levels just spiked because his insulin couldn't support it. So when you can have insulin buffers like good quality oils, MCT oils, and carbon C60 oils, and olive oil, and avocado oil, and natural butters like grass-fed butters, these are the proper fats that you burn as fuel, and they buffer the insulin, they lubricate everything. And so our MCT oil will help suppress your appetite. It'll buffer those glucose spikings, and it's great for cognitive teeth and gums and all the different components that go into health overall. So I really encourage people to look into adding more of those, what I just mentioned, those great oils into your body. You won't see flakes in your hair. You won't have the dandruff. Like your body will start to lubricate. And then the other component I wanted to mention, as far as hydration goes, now, Dr. Ibrahim Karim, he's the founder of biogeometry. He'll say if there's any, I'm not sure he's a big believer in global warming, but if there is any change in a temperature, what he's seen is more of a dehydration of our planet through the radiation and all the satellites that are rolling out and all these HARP, units that are blasting wireless signals up. And these are the cause of earthquakes. They're the cause of fires. They're the cause of storms. Now they're able to cloud seed, and they're modifying storm with HARP units, like these literally millimeter waves units that are blasting up into the sky. And so they can cloud seed with barium and strontium and aluminum. And those are what are dehydrating our fascia. So there's so much going on with understanding our whole environment and how, unfortunately, all the governments they're trying to play God and modify the weather and make it rain and then make us healthy through injecting drugs into us. It's like, you guys stop it. You're dehydrating us. The barium in those chemtrails are dehydrating our fascia. So to counter that, I want everyone to look at adding silica back into their body, because our body is about 70% water. Well, the rest is silica, viruses, fungus, and bacteria. We want to get silica back into our body. So that's crushed seashells. That's all it is. And you can get it in the form of diatomaceous earth. And that will rehydrate your fascia. And you add that with Irish sea moss, the combination between the two would be just monumental to help people heal and flush the stress out of their body, but flush the stress out of their environment. And then the last one I would add is get on some methylfolate, which is help your methylation system flush, because your body has to be flushing and flowing. And if it's dehydrated, you don't have the conductivity, you're going to get decharged. And then you're going to get injured, and you're going to have more opportunity for dis-ease in your body because you're not flowing with a river, like a river. So there's a lot of moving parts going on here.
Oh, I love this so much. Justin, this has been such a great talk. You gave the why we need this, what your products do, and you even ended up with some success stories. And again, like I said, the variety of products that you offer are super amazing and definitely easy to get to. emfrocks.com. Everything will be back in the show notes for everybody. Thanks again, Justin, for taking the time out today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jessica. Appreciate you.